Hi. In a March 4th, 2020 article in the Xinhua news, one of Chinese Communist Party's mouthpieces, Beijing, threatened that it can impose pharmaceutical export controls against the United States, after which America will be, and I'll quote, plunged into the mighty sea of coronavirus. Here's a copy of the initial part of the article. I know it is in Mandarin. I show you it just to prove its existence. This is not a bluff by the Chinese. This threat from China after they unleashed coronavirus on the US and the world. China's leaders are angry that we have found fault with their handling of and their unleashing of the coronavirus on the world. They feel we should be praising them. They have conveyed an official threat against the American people. An official threat. A threat to make the United States exposure to the virus more lethal against the entire US population. That should be the last threat we allow them to make without a significant economic response. China has a role in either the manufacture or supply of ingredients for the manufacture of 80 to 90% of the pharmaceuticals that the US population needs for their health care. That's right, 80 to 90%, an unimaginable percentage. Even aspirin is not produced in the US today. This all started with the Clinton administration giving China unfettered access to US markets and supporting China's membership into the World Trade Organization. I and many others were against this. The Bush administration allowed this to continue, and the Obama administration allowed even greater China access to the US markets and more control over products needed by the citizens of the United States. This incompetence of our political leaders and their supporting legions of elite but incompetent government bureaucrats, knowing allowed this situation to occur, be maintained, and to expand. We citizens should finally be outraged at this. And we should voice our outrage. That we find ourselves dependent on an enemy nation for 80 to 90% of our pharmaceuticals. That we have been publicly threatened by the Chinese government with being, and I'll quote again, plunged into the mighty sea of coronavirus. Intentionally being plunged into a massive epidemic by the Chinese. Outrageous. It is time to let your congressmen, congresswomen, and senators know that they have to act to correct this. They have to reduce our dependence on China for pharmaceutical and medical supplies as quickly as possible. The manufacture of these must be brought back to the United States. Reduce our dependence on China for any products that have any impact on our national security. The production of these must also be relocated to the United States. Support private industry to relocate back to the US as much as possible any manufacturing they are currently doing in China. We cannot allow any country to threaten us with the release of a viral epidemic, and then the threat to intentionally make the epidemic worse. Certainly, we cannot continue to be dependent upon the Chinese. Email your congressmen, your congresswomen, and senators now. Tell them that we cannot continue to be dependent on China.